Good evening. This is All India Radio, Kohima. I'm Jonas Yantan with Evening News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India and Uzbekistan stand strongly against terrorism. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar asserts that India is in no way responsible for catastrophic global change. Minister for PHED Jacob Zhimomi calls upon the Nagas to rebuild a society for development. And Nagaland Board of School Education to conduct HSLC and HSSLC examinations through offline mode. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, today held a virtual summit. This was the first bilateral virtual summit between India and a Central Asian country. The leaders discussed the entire spectrum of bilateral relationship, including strengthening of India-Uzbekistan cooperation in the post-COVID world. They also exchanged views on regional and global issues of mutual interest. In his opening remarks, Prime Minister Modi said, India and Uzbekistan are two rich civilizations and both have been in contact since ancient times. He said there is a lot of similarity in the understanding and approach of both countries to the challenges and opportunities of the region. Modi said the relationship between India and Uzbekistan has been very strong. He said India and Uzbekistan have similar concerns about extremism, fundamentalism, and separatism. The Prime Minister said both nations stand strongly against terrorism. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that climate change is not an overnight phenomenon and it has taken the last 100 years to have an impact on the environment. Briefing media in New Delhi on the eve of completion of 5 years of Paris Agreement, Javadekar said climate change is not a result of recent actions but of historical actions. He said historically the USA has 25% of all emissions, Europe has 22%, whereas China has 13% and India only 3%. The minister said India is in no way responsible for this climate change, but as a responsible participant in world affairs, India chose to take part in combating climate change. Javadekar said, with only 2.4% of the world's land area and 17% population, India has preserved 8% of the world's biodiversity and 24.56% forest cover. He said India had committed to reduce emission intensity of GDP by 33 to 35% by 2030, of which it has already achieved 21% and remaining will be achieved in the next 10 years. Javadekar informed that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the Global Climate Summit tomorrow on the 5th anniversary of the landmark Paris Climate Agreement. Housing and Urban Affairs Secretary Durga Shankar Mishra today launched a program of socio-economic profiling PM Swaniti beneficiaries and their families as an additional component of PM Swaniti scheme in the presence of representatives of various central ministries and state officials. Under this, a complete profile of each PM Swaniti beneficiary and their family members will be prepared. Based on the profiled data, benefits of the various eligible central schemes would be extended to them for their holistic socio-economic upliftment. The launch has been in the context of the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi that PM Swaniti scheme should not be seen merely from the perspective of extending loans to street vendors, but should also be seen as an instrument for outreach to street vendors and their families for their holistic development and socio-economic upliftment. In the first phase, 125 cities have been selected for the program. The profile will identify potential eligibility of beneficiaries and their family members for select central government schemes and facilitate linkages. Minister for PHED Jacob Zhimomi has called upon the Naga people to come together and rebuild the society for overall development. He said this today while inaugurating the clock tower at Old Traffic Point, Woka Town, in the presence of Deputy Chief Minister Y. Button. Zhimomi said Lotha community is gifted with abundant talents and urged upon the community to utilize the talents for the interest, uplift and benefit of the Nagas. Lauding the effort and contribution made by Deputy Chief Minister towards the community in particular and Nagas in general, Zhimomi further urged upon the sitting MLAs and general public of the district to extend their support for bringing more development. He also encouraged the youths to use social media effectively for the positive progress of the society. On water supply at Walkertown, Jacob assured that the department will try its best to give basic requirement of water supply from Vangasang main reservoir before next monsoon. Standing tall at 57 feet, the clock tower was initiated by Deputy Chief Minister Y. Button and constructed under Local Area Development Program Fund 2019-20. This news comes to you from All India Radio, Kohima. Nagaland Board of School Education (NBSC) will conduct the HSLC and HSSLC examinations 2021 through written or offline mode. This was informed today in a notification issued by NBSC Chairman Asano Sikose. The notification also informed all the candidates of HSLC and HSSLC examinations 2021 that the question papers will be set based on the reduced syllabus, which was earlier notified by the board. It said all regular, repeaters, and eligible compartmental candidates will appear the examination by using the same question paper prepared from the reduced syllabus, except the subjects mentioned in point number 5. However, the question papers of old course Science for HSLC and the old course of Business Studies, Accountancy and Entrepreneurship for HSSLC will be based on the full syllabus. Meanwhile, the reduced syllabus and the blueprint of the question papers are also made available at the board's website www.nbscnagaland.com. Nagaland reported 32 new cases of COVID-19 today, taking the total tally to 11,634. Health Minister S. Pangyapam in a tweet informed that Gifre has recorded 18 new cases, Beren 11 and Dimapur 3. Also, 66 positive patients have recovered, which include 48 from Kohima, 14 in Mon, 3 in Dimapur, and 1 from Beren. With this, the state has registered a total of 10,812 recovered persons, while 629 are active corona cases and 122 are migrated. Altogether, 71 deaths have been registered in the state, of which 61 died due to COVID, while 7 had comorbidities and 3 deaths are under investigation. Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma tested positive for COVID-19 today. In a tweet, the Chief Minister informed that he has tested positive for COVID-19. He is under home isolation and experiencing mild symptoms. Sangma requested all those who came in contact with him in the last 5 days to keep a watch on their health and, if necessary, to get tested. The National Scholarship Portal for Applying Online Scholarship Scheme 2020-21 has been extended to 31st of this month. The extension is initiated to students applying for pre- and post-metric scholarships and merit-cum-means scholarship for professional and technical courses under Ministry of Minority Affairs till 31st December, while the last date for first and second level institution verification is on 15 January and 31st January next year, respectively. Principal Director of School Education Nagaland, Shanavas C, has advised students to carefully read at the guidelines for registration of scholarship and register themselves on the given timelines. Further, Shanavas also requested the institute nodal officers to be cautious of any fictitious names while verifying the students' application forms and asked to maintain records of the applicants separately for fresh and renewal categories. And as the nation fights COVID-19 pandemic, let us all remember to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, wash hands frequently with soap and water, or use hand sanitizer and follow social distancing norms. And now 20 news, here are the main points again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India and Uzbekistan stand strongly against terrorism. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar asserts that India is in no way responsible for the catastrophic global change. Minister for PHED Jacob Zhimomi calls upon Nagas to rebuild a society for development. And Nagaland Board of School Education to conduct HSLC and HSSLC examinations through offline mode. That is all we have in this evening news bulletin. Good night.